Hi guys, how are you? Give me 2 seconds to get my camera on. I hope everyone is well today. I actually got to do TMZ today, so I'm feeling excited about that. And I want to tell you guys about it, of course. And then I had some great videos that I'd made for you guys yesterday, but I recorded them outside and they did not turn out the way that I had wanted, so I didn't upload them. Ooh, I just hit my foot. That hurt. And let me get my camera on for you guys. Hi guys. Um okay, let me get my phone plugged in really quickly so that we can get started because we have a lot to talk about today. As always, when it comes to the Real Housewives, especially of New Jersey. Make sure you guys comment. Let me know where you're watching from. I love to know where you guys are watching from. Better view here. Okay. Hi, guys. Comment. See who's in today. And let's talk Real Housewives. We can start with New Jersey, or we can talk a little bit. Hi, Mon. Hi, Sissy. How are you? We can talk New Jersey first, or we can talk a little bit about Terry Dubrow. He came out with a message about Lisa Marie Presley and her passing and how Ozempic could be part of the problem. He doesn't know for sure if she was on Ozempic or not, but he described why Ozempic could put people in danger. And he also said that he had 3 patients of his own that were in the hospital right now because of an Ozempic related issue. 3 of them, and one of them was in the ICU. So that's pretty scary. I want to let you guys listen to that. And also, is there anything like popcorn style? If there's anything in the comments that anyone wants to talk about, leave a comment and we can definitely discuss it. Whether it's Orange County, New York. I'm going to be doing a whole video on New York. I don't know if you guys have been watching The Real Housewives of New York, but definitely worth trying to watch. I watched the first episode. I did like it. I guess there was another housewife that was supposed to be part of the team, and she ended up quitting, like, I don't know, a couple of weeks into filming. And because of that, it sort of made the first episode seem a little bit confusing. Okay. So hi guys. Hi Susan from Arizona. So glad you guys could make it. Moni says she loves New York. I love that. I'm so glad that you are loving New York. Let me get this pulled up for you guys. This Terry Dubrow. Terry Dubrow, if you guys don't know, he is a famous plastic surgeon from Orange County. He's also married to Heather Dubrow, who happens to be a Real Housewife of Orange County. They recently sold their mansion that they built and they moved into a very expensive apartment in LA. So I'm kind of interested to see what's going to be going on with her and the Orange County situation. Maybe she's going to go to Beverly Hills. Wouldn't that be crazy to see Heather Dubrow in Beverly Hills? I think that would be amazing. Okay, guys, let's take a listen. TMZ.
Weight loss surgery, bariatric surgery. There are several different kinds. I have read Lisa Marie's autopsy report. She had the most advanced kind. Basically, you disconnect part of the intestines so you just don't absorb as much food, and that's how you get calorie restriction. So she had bypassed part of her intestines. They made a new connection between her stomach and her intestines, and the most common complication when you go inside the abdomen and do that kind of surgery is that scar tissue forms, and that's called adhesions. And occasionally, at any time in the future, when you've had this type of bypass bariatric surgery, those adhesions can block parts of the small intestine and cause what's called a small bowel obstruction. That can lead to a process, if it goes on long enough, called strangulation, where the intestines actually died. And that's what happened to her. And what's really scary is 915 centimeters, which means 30 feet of her small intestines had died before she made it to the hospital. I have another theory that I want to share with you. Most patients who have had previous bariatric bypass surgery, they lose a lot of weight, but not enough, okay? So a lot of them, particularly in Hollywood, are on the Ozempic type drugs. Recent studies have shown that if you're on Ozempic type drugs, they can slow down your intestines. They can predispose you to intestinal obstruction, and there may be the perfect unfortunate storm of previous surgery with intestinal scarring, opioid use, so you can't tell that you're that sick, and further slowing of the intestines by the use of these miracle weight loss drugs that virtually everyone is on in Hollywood. Now, I don't know that she was on that, but we will know when the further toxicology comes back. If you're going to go on the Ozempic type drugs and you get intestinal pain, you get stomach bloating, you get pain, you drink alcohol with this, you're predisposed to intestinal obstruction and pancreatitis. And right now, I have 3 of my patients who are on Ozempic, okay, that haven't even had surgery yet, in the hospital, 2 in the ICU with intestinal and pancreatitis just from the use of Ozempic. Nobody's talking about this right now, but we need to talk about it.
So, guys, that was TMZ. Again, that was Heather Dubrow's husband from the Real Housewives of Orange County. He is a famous plastic surgeon. He also did the Bravo show Botched, if you guys don't remember. And who had a problem, and are we talking about someone we know? Dubrow. He was actually talking about Lisa Marie Presley because she passed away unexpectedly after the awards, and they are just now getting autopsy reports back. They've not got the toxology, which is going to show any drugs that were in her system. But they did get the actual autopsy back, which showed the 30 feet of the small intestine that had actually, I guess, as he said, died. So what he's saying, though, is that with everyone taking Ozempic for whatever reason, it predisposes them to these issues. And he, right now, as we speak, he has 3 patients in the hospital that are on Ozempic. It sounds like for people that maybe are going to have like a weight loss surgery, like a lap band or whatever the case may be, maybe they're going on Ozempic first, because I know sometimes they do want you to lose weight naturally before those kinds of surgeries. Because he said the 3 women that are in the hospital haven't even had their surgery yet, but they're on Ozempic. So it must be they're taking the Ozempic and then they're going to have like the lap band surgery. One person I always like to remind people that had a lap band surgery was Teddy Mellencamp. You won't be able to find that on the internet these days. You might be able to find if you dig really, really deep, because she did an article right before she came on to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills about the lap band surgery. But yes, she had lap band after she had her daughter. So when she started her weight loss, it was really more so of a maintaining her weight, not actually losing weight, because she lost the weight because of the lap band. So that's just a fun fact for you guys today. Also, Teddy on her Camille says, wow, I know, fun fact, right? Yes, she had a lap band after she had the baby before she went on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Speaking of Heather Dubrow, somebody else mentioned maybe that's what Kyle did, a lap band. I'm sure Kyle has had something done. I was watching old episodes of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I actually posted a couple of clips on my Instagram, and I was watching the season where Taylor throws the $60,000 birthday party for her daughter, and they go to Vegas. I think it was like, is it the first season? It might have been the first season. And again, I tell you guys and remind you that Camille certainly was in amazing shape. She had surrogates, I think, for both of her children, and her body was banging. Camille's body is still banging. And Kyle had just had Portia. Portia was only 3 or 4 years old, and Kyle was very, very, very self conscious. Anytime they were filming, they filmed a pool party at Camille's house. Kyle would not take her cover up off. She would not go into the pool. And so I definitely think that she has been open about her body issues, her eating issues. And I think that she probably did have some sort of a, I don't want to say a lap band, but a tummy tuck. I mean, she had 4 children. So it would make sense. Her body, is very, looks like the body of someone who has not had 4 children. So we all know no matter how much you work out, all of that, like, you're still going to have extra skin a lot of times. Even what was her, Tiffany Moon from the Real Housewives of Dallas, who was also a anesthesiologist, talked about women who would have their baby and then literally go into the next room and get their tummy tuck done since they were already numb from the C-section or whatever, and they would do it all in one big wham bam thank you ma'am type situation. Danielle Cabral from the Real Housewives of New Jersey, she just had a tummy tuck. She is at least not hiding it from us, so I give her some respect for that, because she did post on Instagram, and I'm surprised at her because she really had a banging body. You could tell she was very lean, and I think she worked out a lot. From some of her posts, she showed like working out prior to the reunion to get into her reunion dress. But she didn't look like a woman who had had 2 children either, but she also had a tummy tuck done. So she's going to be comeback season 2. We always talk about how they look so much different season 2, because on season 1 they see themselves and they make a little bit of money, so therefore they come back season 2 looking a little bit more snatched, if you will. We also saw this with Wendy Ossifer from the Real Housewives of Potomac. When she came back for season 2, she had a tummy tuck, a BBL, and her boobs done, I think. I mean, she had the works done, and she was beautiful. I mean, she had a nice body beforehand, but again, I think when you have kids, it's hard. Some things, it doesn't matter how hard you work out, they're not going away. Okay. Deb says, me too, Lindsay. I watch old episodes. After she had Portia, she complained that she was fat. She wasn't. She was embarrassed in front of Camille. She spoke on body issues with Ramona on Ultimate Girls Trip. Yes, she was very insecure when it came to Camille Grammer. If you want to see Kyle, I think even to this day, Kyle is insecure of Camille, because Kyle knows that Camille knows their history. She has a very, Camille was in Hollywood, in old Hollywood, with Kelsey Grammer, when old Hollywood was old Hollywood. And she was actually one of the first ones to ever bring up cheating allegations as it pertained to Mauricio and the nannies. I'm late, but I made it. Hello, hello. I wonder if she'd be so desperate to use peptides, because they all are. Maybe not Ozempic. I don't understand what peptides are. I was actually I mean, I do, but I guess I don't, because they advertise them like they're nothing, like it's just another protein drink. And yeah, I keep hearing about these peptides. I don't know. But yes, she definitely talked about her weight loss. There was a time when she talked about how she would eat like 9 almonds. That's all she would have for lunch. And these were body issues and issues she had from a young age of like 13 years old. But we also have to remember that Kyle and Kim and Kathy's mother was like a stage mom from hell. The whole reason the family, they weren't born in LA and Beverly Hills. Guys, the children were actually, they were all born like back in like Oklahoma or Nebraska, I think. And Big Kathy convinced the father that she could make the daughters famous, and therefore they moved to Beverly Hills, and she was getting auditions and getting the girls out and about and trying to get them to film and get them famous. So When we talk about a 13-year-old Kyle Richards, and she talks about on the reunion how she drove herself to her auditions, and people are like, oh my gosh, why did you do that? And she says, because my mother trusted me. It wasn't because her mother trusted her, it's because her mother was in a bar somewhere and probably not in the condition to take her daughter to an audition. So Kyle took herself. And so she probably did have a severe eating issue that went unnoticed. Big Kathy was with Rick, and they were, I think, partying in their own ways as well. If you read the book, that Hilton House of Horrors, Rick and Kathy also lived a very going out every night toward type of lifestyle. They just did it with higher elevated rich people, so it doesn't seem so bad when they do it. And then we know Kim was getting married, divorced. We know that Kathy was introducing her to some of Rick's friends because he obviously had great connections, and Kim was very desirable even night in her young ages. She was still very, very famous. I want to talk to you guys with the Ozempic and Terry Dubrow. I'm surprised to hear him speak out about it because, um, Heather and him seem to be very politically correct. And so for him to speak out against, not necessarily, I mean, he didn't speak out against it and saying it, but he basically did when he said that he had 3 patients that are on Ozempic and they're in the hospital as we speak, and that we could have the perfect storm. That could cause this to happen and you wouldn't know. And one of those perfect storm ingredients would be an opioid. So that would make sense if you're having any sort of lap band or any sort of surgery and you go home on opioids, then you're not going to feel the pain and what's going on with your intestines on the inside. So also, I want to talk about the fact that Erica Jane did an interview and she was asked about Kyle Richards and Mauricio and their breakup. And she was very dismissive of it. She said that she didn't like when people was talking about her divorce with her husband, and so she was going to let Kyle talk about it, but she said that they're fine, everything's fine. Kyle and Mauricio are just fine. Now, when Garcelle went on Watch What Happens Live, P.S., Garcelle went on Watch What Happens Live, and when she was asked about Mauricio and Kyle, her response was, Sutton and I have always been suspicious. We were very suspicious. Now, this is an interesting statement to make because Garcelle sort of makes it sound like her and Sutton are the reason that we're going to hear about Kyle and Mauricio's marriage. We've talked about the fact that the ladies in Beverly Hills all sort of have a pact that they have 1 or 2 things that they refuse to talk about, and they all respect those 1 or 2 things with each other and vice versa. So if Kyle doesn't want to talk about her husband and their relationship, and that's one of her things, then the ladies would be respectful to not bring it up, as we have seen in all of the previous years. The only time we've seen Kyle and Mauricio's marriage problems brought up on camera was when Lisa Vanderpump was around, and I often talk about the fact that this was likely the start of the demise of the relationship between LVP and Kyle, even though they faked it for many years afterwards. I think on the inside, it was the demise whenever LVP wanted to take the magazine covers that had headlines that pertained to Mauricio allegedly cheating with a Hollywood ex-worker and having menage a trois. Okay. And it made it into an entire book. Could you imagine your husband allegedly, for educational purposes only, cheating on you and then it making it into a book next to the names of Eddie Murphy? Yeah. So allegedly, LVP wanted to take these magazines and put them in Brandy's suitcase because they were about to take a cash trip, but it wasn't a cash trip because the husbands were going as well. And that allegedly LVP wanted to set it up so that the tabloids and the magazines would be in Brandy's suitcase, that they would have them, and at some point they could bust them out in front of the cameras to get Kyle's shocked response when she sees them. However, that's not what happened. Brandy actually made a chess move in that moment as well, and she traded teams. She traded LVP for Kyle Richards, and she told Kyle and Mauricio what happened, and they eventually confronted LVP and Ken, who got upset and left the cast trip. But I think Brandy pledged her allegiance to Kyle at that moment, and that's why we've seen Kyle defend Brandy all of these years later. If you guys remember, I think it was Kyle's Christmas party or something. It was like the finale, and Brandy was there with her friend, and she was very intoxicated, and she wasn't there filming. She was just there as Kyle's friend. So that's very interesting dynamic. I think that Kyle's really taking one for the team here when it comes to Mauricio and their marriage. But here's some tea for you guys that you're not going to hear anywhere else. So I want to make sure that all of you are listening. And if you spread this tea, make sure you let people know where you found it. If you guys have watched The Real Housewives of New York class, raise your The Real Housewives of New York. Let me tell you a little bit about her. She's going to be the young pop shit stirrer, if you will, right? She's young, she's not married, she doesn't have any children, and allegedly Bravo moved her from LA out here to New York to be on The Real Housewives of New York. She's originally, I guess, a West Coast LA girl and she tried to out for Vanderpump Rules, and I think they did the Housewives instead and moved her out to New York. I don't know if that's the true, but I do know that she did come from LA. Who said that? It was actually Dana Wilkie. Dana Wilkie did a deep dive on her. But at some point in time, something happened that this beautiful young thing, we'll call her PYT, this pretty young thing, Bryn Whitfield, she's very pretty, she's very vivacious. Let's meet her. Let's meet her with a picture. Anyways, somewhere along the line, her and Mauricio were in the same company. And so was Andy Cohen. And somebody asked Andy Cohen if he introduced Mauricio, single Mauricio, to single Bryn. And what class do you think his answer was? Do you think his answer was, no, I would not do that to Kyle? I wouldn't try to hook Mauricio up with other women. I wouldn't do that to Kyle. Or do you think that he stumbled and paused and didn't really want to answer the question because that's precisely what he did? I'll give you guys a second to think about it. Sorry, I hate when my camera shakes when I'm typing. It's so annoying. It's gonna fall. Let me see here, guys. I want to try to find the exact clip for you. Okay, page 6 picked it up. Ooh, Kyle's gonna be so mad. And they picked it up only a couple of hours ago. And he definitely has a dark side. Okay, here's the thing, Catherine. This tells it. Okay, Kyle Richards and Andy Cohen, like this all these years, like they definitely had like a dead loyalty to each other. Kyle pretty much started the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. If there's one person in the world, out of the Housewives world, that I think that Andy Cohen would have had the most allegiance to, and the most allegiance back, would have been Kyle Richards, in my opinion. I don't think anyone else would have topped Kyle Richards. Okay. Yeah, Nene is a great housewife, but she didn't have that sort of relationship with Andy. Kyle and Andy have always had that sort of relationship. It says Andy Cohen tells flirty Real Housewives of New York star Brynn Whitfield that Mauricio Yermansky is available. Andy Cohen confirmed flirty Real Housewives of New York star Brynn Whitfield that Kyle Richards' recently estranged husband Mauricio Yermansky is on the market. While on the red carpet of last week's RHONY premiere party, the Bravo honcho was asked by Marie Claire reporter which house husband he thinks is the hottest, letting out a prolonged he then turns to Whitfield, who was doing her own interview a few feet away, to get her input. Mauricio, the self-proclaimed trophy wife in training, said with a smile, prompting Cohen, 55, to gleefully shout back, "He's available." When Marie Claire reporter asked the TV exec whether he agrees with the 36-year-old brunette bombshell selection, he admitted he's pretty handsome. One TikTok user was quick to call Cohen forever messy as hell, as another added, "Oh my God, don't let Kyle see this one. Oop." Earlier this month, Page Six confirmed that Yermansky and the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star had put their 27-year marriage on pause. A source told People the longtime couple had been separated for a while, but noted that they remained amicable and even still live under the same roof. The duo, who married in January of '96, released a joint statement insisting any claims regarding them divorcing are untrue. However, yes, we have had a rough year, the most challenging one of our marriage, they admitted, but we both love and respect each other. The Bravo celebrity, 54, and the real estate broker, 53, went on to say that there have been no wrongdoing on anyone's part and asked their followers not to create false narratives to fit a further salacious narrative. Yeah, so there you have it. Andy Cohen over here trying to hook Brynn Whitfield up with Mauricio. Can you believe that? I mean, I can, but I just want you guys to know that, because this is really this is your boss. So when we think about like how Andy Cohen does the New Jersey girls dirty and how we feel like he's doing Teresa Giudice dirty, this shows he doesn't have any loyalty to any of them. He will do anything. He doesn't care. I definitely think that he called Kyle up and was like, "You know what? It's your turn." You know how everyone gets a turn, Kyle. It's your turn. You're going to have to come out and tell everyone you and Mauricio live separate lives, and just admit it, because it's the only way we're going to get people to stop talking about New Jersey. And here's the thing. I got a whole camera crew ready to film. But these women are over here fighting about Instagram. I need everything to calm down. So, all right, girls and guys and gentlemen and students, I just wanted to hop on. I just did my TMZ live today, so I think it'll air. What time is it on the East Coast? Oh, it should air 6 o'clock on the East Coast today. We talked about Jennifer Lopez, so it'll be interesting. But I was excited and thankful to be on TMZ today. So yeah, I'm just glad I checked my messages, because I'm really bad about checking my messages sometimes. So if anyone's ever DM'd me, emailed, messaged me, I'm really sorry. I found an email from a really important person from a month ago. I mean, like a really, 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 really important person. So I hope they get my message. I need to do a better job of checking my messages. I need a team. I need an assistant, like the kind of assistant that Sonia has, like the ones that don't get paid. Yes, TMZ live, not just wasn't regular TMZ, it was TMZ live. But here's what's so funny. I've always loved TMZ. When I was out in California a couple of years ago, I took a photo in front of TMZ, like standing. It was like nighttime. We were on Hollywood Boulevard. And I was like standing in front of TMZ like this, like, and now I was actually on it today. So that's pretty exciting. Pretty exciting, yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm gonna have some more content coming out on YouTube. I was on vacation for a week, so I know that you guys all know that, and that now I'm back and it's business as usual. And there's a lot going on, and I got to get you guys up to speed with what is going on in the Bravo world and everything else. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, turn your notifications on.